Beautiful. So it's kind of directly from the sources, we would say, in the spiritual world,
Yeah.
it kind of comes through, and I feel that.
Yes.
And
Cool.
you
I'm
know,
so glad you do.
I do. I mean, when I read it, it was like bang, straight in my
Wow.
face. And because I've
Mm.
been working myself with the divine and kind of emptying out and opening up
Yes.
away from the sense of perfection, as you say, I
Yes.
maybe that's why it landed so well for me. But
Yeah.
it took me so long to get there, and there's certainly sometimes the frustration around that. What do you think has made you open? Because you said,
Mm.
like, I'm going to go away from that, or were there other practices that opened you up to receiving, and being less
Mm.
judgmental?
What a wonderful question. So I feel like I hear that a lot from people, sometimes surprised, like that. I often say that like one of the biggest like blessings in the aftermath of my life so far is just that I came into a place of really unbearable inner pain quite young, like very young. And so I had to start scrambling for a new way. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you
And
share your pain, or is that something that's not?
happily,
Oh, yeah.
happily. Well, and it's interesting because I think that the base of it is just actually just being very sensitive to so I think all humans at the core, our essence, our spirit, you could say, really wants to live in a world that is unconditionally loving and liberated and authentic and truthful and beautiful. And then we come into this world and, in this stage of human development, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And so I think really at the core for me, it was just that conflict of really hungering for that kind of experience in the world and in connection with others. And I felt it just hurt more to be uh distant from that. And then in relationships we learn how to really live a lie with each other
Mm,
and to just be
mm,
in facade and these
mm.
sort of roles. And I don't know, for whatever reason, all of that was just so painful for me. It was
Really?
unbearable. It
Yeah.
was it was unbearable. So I desperately needed to just access a place of inner truth. And so that really began for me around age 14. Just
Really?
just the sort of that profoundly oppressive nature of my deepest truth not being the not living by within connection with that primary.
Really direct question here is like,
Mhm.
where would you have stumbled across that you can't tell your truth? Can you tell us a scenario or a way people dealt with you? What was that for you?
It's something I've been trying to write about and get really clear about, and I haven't fully found the way yet, but it's good to explore. So I think about when we open our just sort of the inner experience and what we share with others becoming more and more aligned, and I guess I think of it more as for me, my path into kind of what I would call an essential self or my inherent light or whatever has really been the path of being honest about just really mostly about the pain in my that I carry. And then that opens up and it kind of clears the way. And so I would say that just being more honest and open about really what's going on at an emotional level, like speaking about our struggles and our
Yeah.
and just knowing that our relationships are that we'll still be loved and we'll still be worthy if we're struggling.
That is so hard for us to accept, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because you talk about the age of 14, and the age of 14 is full of insights, while it's also full of
Yes.
hormonal blast of the
Yes.
brain.
Yes.
So, as an adult, watching a 14-year-old daughter, I can also
Yes.
see like, oh, this is just a phase, like don't
Right.
listen to it. But if I do that to her, she feels like, I'm going over what, that sense of what's running through her at that moment in time, and I'm not taking it serious. So are we
Yes.
talking about that kind of truth, that we take people serious in their pain and their acknowledgement, how they see the world? How do you see that?
These are such good. This is really helpful exploration, Alexandra, for me, and just getting more clear about what I mean. I think that's just something I need. I'm going to think about more. I'm going to think about
Yeah,
that one.
why not?
Yeah.
We don't have the answers. That's not about it. Because
Yes.
it's so difficult. But
Yeah.
let me say that to whoever's out there, you probably have noticed and listening. So you probably have
Yeah.
noticed the truth, because it was sometimes just a pain in your pit of the stomach when you heard it. It's so true, it hurts, or it
Yeah.
would be something like where you would just stop for a moment and all your racing thoughts, they
Yes.
just simply stop. That's how I know I'm hearing the truth often for myself, the deep
Uh-huh.
truth. When somebody
Yeah.
speaks the deep truth, it comes from a state of being in integrity with their
Yes.
emotions. That's what it feels like to me. And maybe
Hmm.
that's what you were talking about a
Beautifully.
little bit. Yeah.
I think to be truthful is to be really responsible for ourselves, not to say you're an asshole. Like that's not necessarily
Yeah.
true,
Yeah.
but really what's going on? Like where are my judgments coming from, and what caused those judgments? And then to present that with an openly and vulnerably, really, I
Yeah.
feel like is more genuine exploration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because I know that, like in America, a lot of people go to therapy, and in Europe, we don't
Yes.
have that as frequently. And this
So
coined
interesting.
phrasing of when you say that, I feel like that has become another way of hiding, right? We're
Yeah.
not talking about that either. We're talking about being really vulnerable with that emotion that you have, and not coining it when you say that,
Yes.
and just kind of stick with your
Yes.
own, whatever it is you're
Yes.
experiencing. Yeah.
And then, Alexander, you asked me though about just practices, any practices that have supported me. So this poetry thing kind of cracked open in me, which was just an amazing surprise, really. And then a few months later, though, I discovered hypnotherapy,
Ah,
and I was still deeply struggling. I had this new connection with poetry, which was helpful, but I was still very much in the dark. And I had this first session with hypnotherapy, and that was the turning point in my life. And what it did was it put my whole system, my whole being in a state of such profound safety and relaxation
yeah.
that my consciousness, or my sense of self, was able to sort of sink down. It was like it had been caught in all of these old narratives about who I thought I should be and how I had to act and behave in the world. And it was just able to like relax, and I truly had an experience of what I call just this essential self, inherently healthy, happy, and whole, and worthy of love and acceptance unshakably. And so from then it became really easy to move through all of this, the energy and the emotions of this old kind of just all my old baggage, because I didn't identify with it anymore. So I
Yeah.
could, so it was a real transformation process began there with, yeah.